Hello, welcome once again to Stuff and Things, where I like to talk about stuff and occasionally even things. I'm your good friend Bradley, and today I'm back, and it's time for a pleasant Sunday Stuff and Things. And on this pleasant Sunday Stuff and Things, we have stuff and things to talk about, including upcoming videos, things that you can look forward to on Stuff and Things, working, and Stuff and Things plays. I'm going to be talking to you about my Austin trip, the reason that I was gone last week. We went completely dark for an entire week, which is something I don't do very often. I didn't even post any Stuff and Things plays videos last week. So we'll be talking about that. And then we need to catch up on your questions, comments, and feedback in hashtag askstuffandthings. So let's get into it. All right, gang, so we've been away for a week. What are the videos that you can look forward to on Stuff and Things plays, and working? Well, first up, we have a first impressions video for Seattle Pipe Club Down Yonder. That will be posting this Wednesday, but if you want it early, if you want it to be posting, if you want to see it on Monday, you can join our Patreon, link in the description box below. We post all the Stuff and Things videos early on Patreon, except for the Sunday Stuff and Things videos. Those are still posting on Sunday, but you'll get those ad-free. So ad-free and early on Patreon. Coming up after that, we will have first impressions of something very cool and something I'm pretty excited about. Take a look at these bad boys. Ba-bam. Nick's boots. These are the big boys, the bad boys, the giant tanks. These are heavy-duty, burly, American-made, old-style boots. These are made by Nick's Boots in, I think Nick's is in Spokane. They're in Eastern Washington anyway, my state. And these were actually sent to me by a very generous person named Ben from stitchdown.com. Some of you may have heard his podcast or seen some of his videos on YouTube. And we got together, had a little discussion. We might be collaborating on something in the future, but he was like, hey, what size are you? Let me send you this pair of boots. Crazy, very generous. He was kind of worried that these wouldn't fit me, and maybe they're slightly big. I haven't totally decided yet. They're a 10.5, and I'm a 10.5 normally, like in athletic shoes and dress shoes, but in like my Alden Indie boots, I'm a 10, and I just kind of got the impression that most of these Pacific Northwest boot brands would be the same, where I would need a smaller size. But I'm trying these out for work, and I actually just got done cleaning and conditioning these. They looked much worse when I got done wearing them for 2 days straight at work. But I'm going to be doing a first impressions video of these just as I'm conditioning them, talking about what I've been thinking of them the first couple days that I've worn them for work. I'm also going to be doing a little short on working, talking about these boots as well. And then in a month's time or so, I will do a full review of these ridiculously burly Nick's boots. So stay tuned for that. But the first impressions video will be not this Wednesday, but the Wednesday after. And then, like I mentioned, I'm working. We're going to have a short on those Nick's boots. And then the following Monday, we should have a full episode. So we're catching up on all the videos. And then, of course, on Stuff and Things Plays, Tears of the Kingdom series is continuing every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Probably the best game I've ever played, so be sure to check that out. So how did the trip to Austin go, you may ask? It was cool. It actually went quite well, other than the flights, which are always delayed. There's always some sort of issue whenever I fly. I can't think of a flight that I've been on in the last few years that has actually either departed or arrived on time, which is not a very good track record for the American aviation industry, if you ask me. You may have seen I posted a little Instagram update of waiting for the plane, and we were about to board the plane, and then they said, oh, actually, this plane doesn't fly high enough for us to reach our destination. What? What does that even mean? So then we had to wait for them to get a different plane, and it was this whole nonsense. And then on the return trip, the flight was, of course, delayed as well. And of course, we didn't know until we were almost to the airport and turning in our rental car and all that stuff. So flying is horrible. But aside from that, the trip was great. We came in on a Thursday evening, and Austin was hot, but luckily it had actually cooled down quite a bit. Apparently it had been in the hundreds, and while we were there, it was in the 90s, high 80s to mid 90s, which is still hot for me, but not as bad as it could have been. We got some crazy thunderstorms, In fact, there was a period where it rained harder, or about as hard as I have ever seen it rain in my entire life. It was crazy how hard it was raining. But aside from that, weather was pretty good. We got to go to this really cool film festival. Diamond had a short that I actually, I guess what would I be on that short? I was the cameraman, the editor, the sound guy, did some original music. I acted in it a little bit. Like, I did a bunch of stuff. She wrote it, directed it, and starred in it. And it was accepted at this film festival, so that's why we were going. And it was a lot of fun to see that on the big screen, to hear the people's reactions to it. It was interesting watching a lot of the other shorts that were showing. We didn't watch any features, but we watched most of the shorts that they were playing. There were different blocks of different shorts that they would put together. You'd watch like an hour and a half of different short films. That was really cool. We had a lot of good advice from you guys out there as to where we should go in Austin or the Austin area, things that we should check out. We definitely wanted to go to another barbecue place because the last trip we took to Austin, we went to Terry Black's, and it was really good. A lot of people said, oh, that's too commercial, it's too touristy, so you should try some other places. And we did go to a place called Micklethwaite. That's more like a food cart or truck, sort of, but they have this whole outdoor area where you can eat. And that was very good. But I have to say, we did Micklethwaite one day, and then we went again to Terry Black's. I think the Terry Black's is better, or at least I preferred it. It's a little juicier, a little more flavorful, I think. But Texas barbecue is just amazing. I love it. It's fantastic. We went to the Blanton Art Museum, which was right close to the Bullock Texas State History Museum that we went to last time. And the Blanton Art Museum was cool. We saw all sorts of really fantastic pieces of art. I think they had just remodeled everything and reopened it, so it was cool to see all of that. We tried to go swimming at Lake Travis, and it was a place called, I don't know if I can remember the exact place. I could probably look it up. It doesn't matter, but it was not great because I guess, I don't know, the water level probably fluctuates in Lake Travis, but it was this place where you would park up, you'd pay, I don't know, 10, 15 bucks to park, and it was like a state park, and then you'd go to this parking area, you come out, and then the actual water is, I don't know, a mile or a mile and a half from where you were, and there's no shade anywhere, and this was on one of the really hot days. It was like 95 degrees. And I think that maybe at different parts of the year, the water level is much higher, but we just hiked down forever and ever, and it was super hot and humid, and we were like, oh, we want to get in the water. We finally got down to where the water was, and there was all sorts of just boggy areas where you couldn't even walk over it, and it was this whole ordeal. And then we got down to the water, and it was just covered in like pond scum, and ugh, it just didn't look appetizing at all. So we just went, ugh, and just turned around and walked back. There was a pool at the hotel, so we went there. What else did we do? We went to this really cool jazz club called the Elephant Room. It was right in downtown Austin, and that was interesting too because just driving into downtown Austin, I think we got there around 9 o'clock or so. It was just packed with crazy drunken people running all over the place. Pretty wild, the nightlife in Austin. But we were able to barely make it into this packed house. It was the Elephant Room, this really cool hole-in-the-wall kind of jazz club, and there was a Miles Davis group playing, really great trumpet player, just cool atmosphere. That was really fun. We went to this fantastic store called Uncommon Objects, which is like this antique store that has like museum quality things in there. It's kind of crazy, and some of the stuff is really expensive, but it's all just fascinating. You could spend an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours in that store just looking at all the insane objects they have from all sorts of different eras. Really, really cool. All in all, it was a fantastic trip. Really enjoyed it. I saw a stick insect, which I was very pleased about. Still have not seen a live armadillo, but I did see a couple crushed ones as usual. But yeah, it was pretty fantastic. And we will probably go to Austin again at some point. It'd be nice to make it kind of an annual trip. We really enjoy that area, and there's just so many fun things to do, so many cool people. Really nice. Austin is nice. I know that's probably not news to anyone, but there you go. Oh, and thank you to all the people who had excellent advice in the comment section for last week's Sunday. Oh, and thank you to all the people who had excellent advice in the comment section of the last Sunday Stuff and Things, because we actually used a lot of that advice and checked out a lot of the places that you guys told us we should. So thank you. Now, gang, it is time for hashtag #AskStuffandThings. Remember, if you have a question for me and you would like it answered on the Sunday Stuff and Things, tweet at @SATBradley with the hashtag #AskStuffandThings. If you are a Patreon supporter, you can write to me via Patreon and go right to the front of the line. You can hit that super thanks button under this video and go right to the front of the line, or you can leave questions, comments, and feedback on my YouTube videos. So first, via Patreon, we have a question from Glenn W. Dunnington. Thank you, Glenn, for being a patron. Glenn says, I'm having trouble with 2 pipes, keeping the draft hole open. Can I carefully use a drill bit to open it up? What size drill bit do you recommend? Have you tried Sutliff Vapor 50th Anniversary from the Country Squire? If not, I would like to send you 2 tins to try. I really enjoy all of your videos. Thank you, Glenn, and thanks again for being a Patreon supporter. Yes, I have used a drill bit to open a draft hole before. You have to be very careful. I think it's a 5/32 drill bit. If you are not from the US, I don't know if that's going to help you too much, but I don't think you are, because you're on Patreon and your pledge is not in pounds or any other European currency. So I think you're American. I use 5/32. I think it's a good... It seems like it's never too big. So you just want to be super careful. If you have a pipe where the draft hole is too stuck for you to get a pipe cleaner through or anything, and if you've tried, they have those pipe cleaners that have the little bits of plastic impregnated into them. You can put some oil, or not oil, put some alcohol on that and really try to clean it out. If that doesn't work, then take the stem off, get your 5/32 drill bit. I just have mine attached to a little hand, kind of like a screwdriver handle, but it's ratcheting so you can turn it. And you just very carefully work that into the stem. Make sure you're not to either side of the hole. You want to make sure you're really in that draft hole. I'm making a lot of horrible gestures right now. And then just work it in there. You're not trying to get rid of any actual briar wood. You're just trying to get rid of whatever the obstruction is. But yes, I do use that occasionally, and it does work well. Next, we have a question, we have feedback from last week's Sunday Stuff and Things. This is from, not last week, 2 weeks ago's Sunday Stuff and Things. This is from Big Earn Bladesmith 2484. No videos, go dark, us understand? Okay, have a good trip. We'll be here when you get back and you can tell us about your adventures. Thank you, Big Earn. Next, from Handles Are Really Dumb. I agree. The @handles on YouTube are really dumb. They say, you actually picked a pretty good time to go. The next few weeks should be way cooler than it's been here for a while. And yeah, I heard that there were, I think, over 70 days of over 100 degrees in Austin during the summer. I'm glad we weren't there when it was over 100 degrees. It was still too hot. I forgot to mention we went to this one place. Now it doesn't matter because I can't remember what the place was called, but it was this cool house that had been converted. It was like a summer home for a muckety-muck of the Austin area back in the day. And in the 20s, it was like a country cottage, and it had been converted into this cool kind of park, and there were peacocks and all sorts of cool things. But we were walking around there, and it was like 95 degrees, and I was just like, maybe we should go back into the car now. And like, I was just melting. But anyway, let's see. Cooler than it had been here for a while. Check out Fredericksburg, Texas. It's right next to Austin and is, in my opinion, the hill country vibe. It was settled by Germans, so you still potentially hear locals chatting in German right in town. The town center is beautiful with lots of shopping. There are a ton of wineries to visit, and the amazing Altstadt Brewery is there. Try their Kolsch. Fredericksburg also has the best chili relleno I've ever had, and I've eaten hundreds all over Texas at Mamacita's. There's German food everywhere too. I personally like Ostlander on the main strip. Wild Seed Farms is really pretty. Try their peach soft serve they make. Fredericksburg is a big peach growing area. Sorry that we didn't get to check out Fredericksburg, but several other people mentioned that it was really cool, and I was really surprised to find out that this whole hill country area, which Austin is partially part of, I think, was settled so heavily by Germans. I had no idea that was the case, but we kept seeing beer gardens everywhere, and it's like, why is there so much German stuff going on around here? I had no idea there was such a big German contingency in that area. So very cool. Oh, okay. Yeah, my printer's doing weird things now. This one is from... Wait a minute. Damnation, it didn't show me who this is from. Okay, I'm sorry whoever left this comment, but I'm having printer issues. A more natural place to swim than Barton Springs is Hamilton Pool, southwest of Austin, or McKinney Falls State Park. There is so much noise going on in the ceiling above me. I'm apologizing for that, even though I'm not sure that you can actually hear it. We didn't get to McKinley Falls State Park, Hamilton Pool, but we tried to swim at that other place. It didn't quite work. For barbecue, try Micklethwaite Craft Meats. We did try it. It was very good. Thank you. Don't get caught up in the hype of Franklin's barbecue. Yeah, several people told us Franklin's, and then several people said no, so we tried Micklethwaite, and then we retried Terry Black's, and yeah, they were both really good, but I have to slightly give Terry Black's the edge. Just a lot of good information here about Austin. If you went to, oh, yes, you remember the Mexican restaurant we went to last year was Fonda San Miguel, which was quite good. And they recommended Matt's El Rancho on South Lamar, which we tried as well, so thank you. It's very good. It's very busy, very huge, very interesting. And then you also mentioned the Blanton Art Museum, which we went to as well. So we didn't get these all from you. We got some of these from you, and some people were reiterating things that you told us, but thank you very much. Whoever you were, I can't remember, and it's not on this list, but thank you. We have from Sogo Baugi 8721. Austin is on about the same latitude as Cairo, Kuwait, New Delhi, and Shanghai. Yeah, it's hot enough to be on the same latitude as all those places. Okay, and then we have some feedback from All the Pretty Horses. We did the Stuff and Things book club 2 weeks ago, and reading Cormac McCarthy's All the Pretty Horses. Man, I'm not getting the people on these. My printer really screwed me up. So I have 2 comments, neither of which have the handle for the person who left the comments. Sorry about that. This first one is from someone, and they said, All the Pretty Horses is the only novel by McCarthy that I've read, and I read it years ago, probably around 2002. I own The Crossing and Blood Meridian, the latter of which I intend to read soon. Frankly, I'm tired of hearing all the accolades. I also felt unsettled when I finished it, but I felt more enthusiastic than after having finished Grapes of Wrath or a Farewell to Arms. That's for damn sure. Yeah, I think I mentioned in that book review that All the Pretty Horses had a bit of a bleakness to it, but it wasn't overly bleak. It wasn't as bleak as I assumed it would be, having read other McCarthy things. And yeah, that bears out to whomever is writing this comment. And then we have one final comment on All the Pretty Horses, again from someone whose name has been omitted. I apologize. McCarthy's narrative style is matched for me only by someone like Toni Morrison. It's expansive and intimate simultaneously. My take on his characterization is that he builds characters that are so believable that I feel immersed in their world. I'm so aligned with Cole and his cohorts that I feel jarred, maybe like they did as well, when a modern detail reminds me that we are in 1949, not 1849. For those readers who've read other CM novels, I think it's interesting to acknowledge that the ending of All the Pretty Horses is at least partially redemptive, since Cole reunites with his buddy Rollins, and for me, the closing detail relates a feeling of future hope versus bleakness, or lack of a future at all. That was kind of my feeling as well. This is my second attempt at All the Pretty Horses, and I found this read, which I completed, much more satisfying than my previous failures. For those who've read Blood Meridian, which I read once a year, I'd be interested in anyone's perspective on potential parallels or lack thereof between the 2 novels. Bradley, thanks for a great overview on the book and your impressions. Thank you very much for your very detailed and very perspicacious opinion on All the Pretty Horses, whoever you may be. Gang, thank you so much for watching this Sunday Stuff and Things. We are back. We're going to be back on normal schedules of videos coming out. Remember that if you're a Patreon supporter, you get everything early or ad-free So the video that's coming up this Wednesday, the first impressions of SBC Down Yonder, will actually be out on Monday on Patreon, so check that out if you wish. But now it is time for the very best part of the show, and that is where we thank our Patreon supporters. Remember, if you would like to support the channels on Patreon, there is a link in the description box below, and it is much appreciated. Helps pay for the fancy camera that is filming this video, the lights that are shining upon me, the editing software, all that good stuff that I have to do, and just getting products and things to show you on the channel for review and for you to check out. It also entitles you to see content early and ad-free on Patreon, and if you are a $25 or more supporter, you get a shout-out every week. So this week, we would like to thank Glenn Dunnington, Jason Buckner, MD of the North, David Gaudreau, Finn O'Hagan, Ryan McFadin, Arcturus, Ashes of the Phoenix, and Jonathon Proctor. And of course, the Maniacs, the crazy people who support the channels at $100 a month, people like Bob Magee. And we'll never forget our dearly departed friend and Hall of Fame member, Peter Straub. Gang, thank you so much for watching. It's good to be back. Please stay tuned for all the good stuff happening on Stuff and Things, Stuff and Things Plays, and Working. Please watch the first impressions video of SPC down yonder. If you haven't watched the Stuff and Things book club for all the pretty horses, check that out. Please go to Working and subscribe and watch those videos if you haven't yet. Tears of the Kingdom on Stuff and Things Plays. All sorts of good stuff coming up. But until next time, until we meet again, I've been your good friend Bradley. You've been the audience. This has been Stuff and Things on a very pleasant Sunday Stuff and Things. I'll see you later.